this is the way forward.
Well, we want to thank all of you, Perry, Ellie, Prof. Morris, and Dr. Fred. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll quickly cross over to Victoria Hall, where the national anthems are being played.
Best of luck to the President.
Prayers.
Almighty God, who in infinite wisdom and providential goodness have appointed officers of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with your abundant favor these your servants whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed their charge. Amen.
Item 3 on the order paper, proclamation by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament.
Proclamation. Whereas under Article 95(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, a session of Parliament shall be held at such place within Uganda and shall commence at such time as the Speaker may by proclamation appoint. And whereas the first session of the 10th Parliament commenced on the 19th day of May 2016. And further, whereas the President of the Republic of Uganda is required under Article 101, Sub-Article 1 of the Constitution to deliver to Parliament an address on the state of the nation at the beginning of each session. Now, therefore, in exercise of the powers conferred upon the Speaker by Clause 2 of Article 95 of the Constitution, I hereby proclaim that Parliament shall sit at the Kampala Serena Conference Center on the 6th day of June 2017 at 1400 hours to receive the State of the Nation address from the President. And further, in exercise of the powers conferred upon the Speaker by the Constitution, the Parliament Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 258, and the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, it is hereby proclaimed and declared that the said Kampala Serena Conference Center, including its forecourt, the yard, and the gardens with the places of the Parliament, for the above-mentioned purpose, given under my hand at Parliament House, Kampala, on the 11th day of May 2017. Rebecca Kadaga, Speaker.
Item 4 on the order paper, communication from the Chair.
Your Excellency, President and Mrs. Museveni, Your Excellency, the Vice President, Mr. Sekandi, my Lord the Chief Justice, Mr. Bart Katreve, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Vice Chairperson of the NRM, Haji Chigongo, the traditional leaders, Right Honorable the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Ministers, the Ministers, Honorable the Leader of the Opposition, the Ministers of State, Judges of the Courts of Judicature, Honorable Members of Parliament, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and all invited guests. I take this opportunity to welcome you to this important event, which marks the official opening of the second session of the 10th Parliament. Your Excellency, I have the honor to inform you that we have special guests in our midst this afternoon. First, I would like to recognize Mrs. Esther Lungu, First Lady of the Republic of Zambia. We welcome you, Ms. We'd also want to welcome Mr. Michael Sidibe, Executive Director of UNAIDS, who is here to attend the launch of the presidential initiative to fast-track the ending of HIV/AIDS in Uganda. This took place this morning, and we thank Your Excellency for that activity. As Ugandans may recall, Mr. Sidibe is not new to this country. He was here in the 90s as a UNICEF representative, and we're happy to see him here again in the country. Your Excellency and dear guests from our sister nations, we have Right Honorable Ekwe Turo, Speaker of the Senate of Kenya. You're welcome. If you could stand up, please. We want to welcome, he has come with two senators, Senator Judith Sijeni and George Kanini, and also Honorable Cheruiyot and members of staff. We welcome the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly of South Sudan, the Honorable Anthony Makana. He has come with Honorable Deng Tong and Honorable Akwach Ayang and member of staff. We welcome the Deputy Speaker of the People's Republic of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Mr. Muhammad Abdali Awad. He's accompanied by one member of Parliament and 3 members of staff. And Your Excellency and members, we want to congratulate the Federal House of Somalia. In the last election, the representation of women has grown from 14% to 24%. So really congratulate them. We also have the Clerk of the National Assembly of Kenya, Mr. Sailai, and other members of staff. We also want to recognize the contribution of Honorable Kidega and Honorable Margaret Ziwa. We have just completed our tenure of speakership at the East African Legislative Assembly. We want to thank them for the work they have been doing. And of course, Honorable Kidega has just finished his tenure, and sir, there are rooms in your house. So we hope that you'll be able to do something about those members who have built capacity in the East African Legislative Assembly. Honourable members, the day is earmarked for His Excellency the President to fulfill its constitutional obligation, deliver State of the Nation address under Clause 1 of Article 101 of the Constitution. As you will note, this is the second State of the Nation address delivered to the 10th Parliament. Today, the President is expected to review the activities and achievements of the government during the previous year, to present plans for the future, programs and strategies that government intends to pursue during this second session. Your Excellency and our guests, I wish to report that since the last State of the Nation address, held on 31st May 2016, the members have settled down, they have been inducted, they have been equipped with the requisite knowledge and skills, not only to carry out their work, but also how to conduct themselves as members of Parliament. The committees, which are the main vehicles for processing our work, were constituted and are working in earnest. And we have been able to do the following during the first session. We have enacted 18 laws, processed 18 loans for external borrowing, ratified 2 international protocols, adopted 24 motions for resolutions, adopted 15 reports on ministerial policy statements on the budget framework estimates for 2017-2018, and as you will note, this is the first budget of the 10th Parliament. We have debated 57 ministerial statements. We have received 8 statements from members and some personal explanations. 1 question for all answer has been answered. 411 questions have been answered during Prime Minister's question time. We have also considered 17 motions to pay tribute to deceased distinguished members of our community. Your Excellency and dear colleagues, during the last session, 825 meetings were held to consider various matters in the committees. These relate to policy, to administration, to budget, accountability, and good governance. 385 field visits have been undertaken by our committees. This is to assess activities of the government, as well as attend to the grievances of communities and local governments. At the international level, parliamentary delegations have attended statutory meetings of Parliament at the bodies like the Interparliamentary Union, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, European Union, ACP, Joint Assembly, and many others. And members of the National Assembly of Uganda have been elected to various positions of leadership in these organizations. Your Excellency, I want to thank the government for the resources available to the Parliament to carry out its operations. Despite this, Your Excellency, we still have a few challenges. We have a dire shortage of space of the parliamentary chamber to accommodate the increased number, which now stands at 449. But I know that by the end of the 10th Parliament, there will be many, many more. Similarly, parliamentary committees have a shortage of space, and they have to compete with one another to be able to use those rooms to do their work. So we look forward to support to improve on those facilities. They also have conducted oversight over the ministries, departments, and agencies, and they require adequate and timely information in order to make decisions and submit reports for their approval. Sadly, there are times when the entities are slow or take long to respond to the requests for information, while others deliberately submit inadequate information, which also hampers the work of our committees. This has a bearing on the government. It renders us inefficient and ineffective. I want to urge the Prime Minister to ensure that this matter is attended to. There has also been some times poor attendance of plenary by the ministers. Sometimes some business has not been handled because of the absence of ministers in some portfolios. We do appreciate that ministers have numerous responsibilities, but it's their responsibility to pass out the work in their respective ministries and prioritize with the view of ensuring that at least one minister is available from each ministry to attend and carry out parliamentary work. Many times the government chief whip has to take the blame for the shortcomings, and we hope that this can be remedied. Now, honourable members, since we are going to the second session, we expect that you will display more commitment, improve on our own attendance, and also focus on work. And if we don't, there will be sanctions, as you know. On a sad note, Your Excellency, we lost two of our members, the Honourable Anne Logi of Moroto, Honourable Sarah Samodoi, the MP for Toroma. The by-elections have been held and the oppositions have been filled. We have also, of course, paid tribute to 6 former members of the House and other distinguished Ugandans. However, Your Excellency, at this stage, there are many senior people in the country who have held positions in the government who are departing at this time. Some of the senior citizens may deserve recognition through official or state ceremonies, which may entail that their remains be brought to Parliament. Unfortunately, no clear policy exists for determining who should be accorded such recognition, and therefore at times there are complaints raised against Parliament for failing to bring people to the House, and these have been brought to me. I would want to request, sir, that we have a clear policy of who is entitled to be brought to Parliament, so that we don't need to argue about it from time to time. Honourable members, the business before the House was saved at prorogation. Therefore, we have no shortage of work. I call upon the whips of the parties to expedite the process of assigning members to committees in case there are changes in accordance with the rules of procedure. And as is the practice, I would assign the independent members of Parliament to these committees. So I would urge that as soon as we commence, please go quickly to do your work so that we can serve the nation. I welcome you again to the State of the Nation address, and thank you very much for responding to our invitation. Thank you very much.
Item 5 on the order paper, invitation by the Right Honourable Speaker to His Excellency the President to deliver to Parliament an address on the state of the nation in accordance with Clause 1 of Article 101 of the Constitution.
This is the invitation, honourable members. Whereas under Article 101, Clause 1 of the Constitution, the President has to deliver to Parliament an address on the state of the nation at the beginning of every session. And whereas the Speaker has just proclaimed the commencement of the second session of the 10th Parliament of Uganda, now therefore, as Speaker of Parliament, I now invite His Excellency the President to deliver to Parliament an address on the state of the nation today, the 6th of June, 2017. Your Excellency, you are welcome to speak to us.
Excellency the Vice President, the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, His Lordship the Chief Justice, the Right Honourable Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Deputy Prime Ministers, the Honourable Leader, the Right Honourable Leader of the Opposition, Their Highness the traditional leaders, Honourable Ministers, Honourable Members of Parliament, Honourable Members of UYARA, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As you heard, we have in our midst Her Excellency, the First Lady of Zambia, who has already been introduced. But I recognize her again and I thank her for coming to participate in our AIDS campaign. She's also a champion in Zambia. As you heard, also we have the Under-Secretary General of the United Nations in charge of AIDS. In charge of fighting AIDS. This is Michelle Sidibe. You had the other guests from Kenya and South Sudan and Somalia, those were introduced. Madam Speaker, in fulfillment of the constitutional requirement under Article 101, Clause 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, I am here to deliver the State of the Nation Address 2017. Madam Speaker and Honourable Members of Parliament, on the 8th of June 2017, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development will present to this august House and the entire nation the budget for financial year 2017-2018. He will detail what has been achieved and what we intend to achieve in the coming financial year. Since the last State of the Nation address, a number of Ugandans, including former ministers and members of parliament, have departed from this earth. I extend my condolences to their families and to the entire country. And I don't know the rules of Parliament. I don't know how you recognize such people. Is it in order to stand up and say?
Excellency, you can stand up for a minute of silence.
Thank you very much. I don't want to make mistakes. May their souls rest in eternal peace. I'm not hijacking the powers of the Speaker, but since I'm the one who called for the standing up, it is in order to conclude it. On this occasion of the State of the Nation, I will just summarize what the NRM was telling the population during the elections of last year. We were telling the country that in order to guarantee prosperity of our country, we need to remember 5 issues. These 5 issues are peace, development of the infrastructure and the human resource, wealth creation, jobs creation, and market access. Sometimes we package them differently at the 10 strategic bottlenecks. Peace means absence of war, but it must also include absence of lawlessness. The NRA UPDF has ensured peace in the country by defeating COIN, defeating ADF, and disarming the cattle rustlers in Karamoja. The UPDF had the capacity to ensure that nobody disturbs the peace of Uganda. However, as you saw recently, there has been a spike of lawlessness in the country involving the murder of AIGP Kawesi, the sheikhs, the Muslim sheikhs, Major Kigundu, John Kagezi, Chairman Okware in Namayingo, Rwamutwe in Bushenyi, the town clerk of Gulu, the Eritrean businessman, etc. There were also numerous break-ins in homes, and some people were throwing leaflets threatening violence. In Mukono, there was the increased stealing of vanilla from the gardens. Some people started panicking. When I went to the home of the late Kawesi, I told you of the gaps that were unattended to until recently, not because they were not known, but because of lack of funding on account of competing demands. Here I am talking of the technical means for the police force and the counterterrorism capacity of the country. Without going into details, I can point out to the honorable members the absence of cameras in the towns and the highways. These gaps put a lot of burden on the CID to discover the one that committed the crime, depending on eyewitnesses and other clues. The cameras would hasten the identification of anybody who commits a crime in the towns or the highways. This is a gap I have given instructions to close. We are going to acquire those cameras for the towns and for the Nyawenje no Wenjewe. Everybody has got his wisdom. We shall see how to handle it, and I will come to you. I will come to the caucus first, then I come to you. The speaker has already allowed me to speak. Meanwhile, I call upon the rich businessmen and residents of the towns that can afford to install cameras around their businesses and residences. They greatly assist. The police will also acquire greater forensic technical capacity, the details of which I would not like to go into here. Using the limited means available to the police in the form of police dogs to detect explosives, scanners, metal detectors, etc. The police, backed by the UPDF, when there is good planning, can guarantee security against any lawless or terrorist actions. The recent peaceful holding of the Martyrs' Day, where an estimated 3 million people turned up, shows that police and the UPDF already have good capacity. The gaps already mentioned notwithstanding. In spite of those gaps, to find that a pre-publicized event, not publicized, an annual event, which attracts so many people, with the terrorists hovering all over the place. If they could, they would have wanted to disrupt an event like that one. But they cannot because of our capacity. In spite of the gaps. Nevertheless, the police and the intelligence services have been rightly criticized by the public for being lax in handling information given to them by the public, sometimes leaking this information, corruption in the form of extorting money from the public, high-handedness in dealing with the public, and protecting criminals or allowing criminals to infiltrate the police. The police leadership must therefore carefully listen to the public and clean up the few rotten elements. Otherwise, I can inform the public that ever since 1980, when we started recruiting educated people into that force, the police has got a very large number of capable cadres. Those who taint their hand with hobnobbing with criminals will only let themselves down. The police force will continue to grow stronger as it was planned to do by the UNLF in 1980, of which we were a part, and subsequently the NRM ever since 1986. The police do not have to wait for the crime to be committed. Through good intelligence, most crimes can be prevented. Most of the suspects arrested after the murder of Kawesi and others, even if they were not involved in the killing of Kawesi, they had committed other capital offenses, many of which carried death sentences or life sentences. Why then were they still in circulation? That means somebody was not doing his or her work. The attempt by the criminals to cause rural scare by throwing leaflets, stealing vanilla from the gardens, occasional murders and rape is easier to deal with because the villages are not as congested as the towns. Indeed, 78 suspects have been arrested for being involved in crime in the Masaka and Pig areas. Our massive security apparatus, comprised of the police, the crime preventers, and the UPDF, with very little mobilization, can easily handle that village thuggery. The other day I was in Karerwe, and the youth there were complaining of the police arresting them for being idle and disorderly, in quotes. This must stop completely. Some of the youth are idle because they do not have jobs. Why arrest them for that? The revolutionary should be like fish in water, in quotes. A revolutionary should never be fish in no water. Otherwise, you should never talk harshly to the people. Always maintain a harmonious relationship with the people. I started relating with the youth in Kampala in 1968 in Katwe. The NRM cadres in Kampala have not properly followed the earlier work of Fronasa in Kampala. Our first NRA commander, Ahmed Seguya, was from Katwe. I trained him in Mozambique in 1971-72. The issue of alleged torture by the police was addressed by myself in the usual NRM way. we always combine educational methods, sensitization, and administrative methods, punishments, demotion, etc. Of course, some of the people have never heard such words. They don't know the difference between what we call political methods and administrative methods. When these reports came up, I carried out an analysis of torture and how it actually impedes successful investigations. That is a very powerful message because it addresses the whys and the why nots of an issue. It addresses the policeman of the mind rather than the policeman, rather than just the policeman of the body. I saw some NGOs and allied persons, some persons allied to NGOs, pouring scorn on my methods and recommending only fascist methods of arrest and imprisonment without education. Could these experts in everything tell us why the UPDF is able to operate in Somalia, Central African Republic, Congo, South Sudan, without complaining? Is it because of high pay or fear of imprisonment? You should be careful not to insult the UPDF, even if you are a member of parliament. It is something I would not recommend. Do these know-it-alls remember that our army is a voluntary army? Do they know that one can make much more money in the private sector than in the army? Let the know-it-alls be informed that the UPDF does what it does because of conviction. Okunyonyola, to explain, to sensitize, has been the life and blood of FRONASA, of the NRA, of the UPDF. We address the mind, we don't just address the body. To end this point, be informed that Uganda is free of war, and it will remain so, and the spike in lawlessness is being defeated even before we fill all the gaps, and will be totally defeated when the gaps are filled. Uganda will be like in one old song of the Banyankore, which went as follows: Muyogo na muyumbu eyabana bali sente. Muyogo and Muyumbu, part of President Ntungamo, we are so peaceful that but children were brave enough to look after cattle because there was no threat. When it comes to the development of the infrastructure and the human resource, I want to inform the Ugandans that here we are talking about the physical infrastructure, roads, electricity, waterworks, the railway, the telephones, etc. And developing our human resource through education and improved health. The development of the infrastructure is so crucial
as I've told you numerous times, because it lowers the cost of doing business in the economy and therefore maximizes the profits of companies. Lower cost of electricity, lower cost of transport, etc., mean higher profits for the entrepreneurs. I want to salute the Parliament of 2006 and the subsequent parliaments. They saw and supported the logic of boosting expenditure on roads from shillings 398 billion in 2005 and 6 to the proposed 4,800 billion in the coming financial year. In this year, this Parliament, you approved 3,442 billion shillings for the roads. I thank you and I commend you for that. On account of this, and in spite of the corruption I'm not like an ostrich like some people. I don't put my head in the sand when there's a problem. I am the one who deals with it. On account of this, and in spite of the corruption, just using government of Uganda money, we have tarmacked the following roads: Kampala-Mityana, Kampala-Masaka, there was no borrowing. The ones I'm reading here, there was no borrowing. I'll read for you the borrowing. I'll read for you the borrowing. But this one is, if you want to hang yourself for what, you can do so. I repeat, Kampala-Mityana, no borrowing, government of Uganda money. Kampala-Masaka, Kampala-Kafu-Karuma-Gulu, Jinja-Kamuli, Iganga-Kalilo, Tororombare-Soroti, Ishaka-Kagamba, Mbarara-Chikagate, Matugase-Muto. These are roads that are already finished. In addition, using Uganda government money, we are in the process of tarmacking the following roads: Mpigi, Kanoni, Sembabule, Viramaria, Musita, Mayugena, Mayingo, Majangi, Busia, Soroti, Katakwi, Moroto, Orio, Anaka, Guru, Kitugu, Musingo, Nakapiripiri, Namaru, Muyembe, Mubende, Kakumiro, Chivare, Kagadi, Ndaiga, Nyakahita, Ibanda, Kamwenje, Fort Portal. All these and others not mentioned are being done solely with the Uganda government money. There are other roads being done with the support from the international institutions, but most of the time with co-funding from government of Uganda. These are Guru Atiak Bibia, Chigumba Masindo Hoima, Kagadi Chenjejo, Ntungamo Mirama Hill, Rukungiri Chihi, Shaka Kanungu, Rigeyo Nyakshenyi, Ruenkunyu, Masindu Port, Apache, Rira, Puranga, Achorubur, Kapchorwa Swam, etc. Here I forgot Mbare Magare Ruaha. It should be here also. And also Tirini Parasa, that one. I said etc. Some of the roads that were internationally funded are already finished, and they include Fort Potro, Bundubujo, Mbarara Kabare Katuna, Kabare Kisoro Bunagana Chanka, etc. The World Bank wants to help us to retarmac, strengthen, and widen Tororo, Mbare, Soroti, Rira Kamdin Road. That road is still good because we did it not so long ago. However, when we did it, South Sudan was not yet independent and the traffic was not so heavy. Therefore, I want to thank the World Bank. They have agreed to fund it so that we widen it and strengthen it because of the bigger volume of vehicles there. I am most grateful to the international partners for this solidarity. However, the Ugandans financing their own projects gives me a lot of satisfaction. It is a good harbinger of good things to come. What is happening in the sector of roads is replicated in the sector of electricity. Using the Uganda government money from the Energy Fund, we have supported the expansion of generation of power, e.g. Nyagak, where the licensed developer could not complete the project, but especially in the area of building transmission lines. Using Uganda government money, we have extended transmission lines to the following areas: Kakumiro, Chibare, Kagadi, Muhorro, Muzizi Tea Factory to Kenjojo, Kanungu, Rujeyo Factory, Rukujir Kanungu, Mpanga Small Hydropower Kamwenje, Kahunde and the Kahunde Substation, Buseruka Small Hydro Power, Chabujimbi Buheri Tea Factory, so many of them. You read them in the. There are so many. You may. You may collapse because of this long list. The transmission is solely done by the Uganda government. There is no transmission that is done by the private power developers. It is all the Uganda government. Because of these investments, the proportion of the population that now have electricity is 20.4% compared to only 4% in 1986. Transport, as already pointed out in respect of the roads, is another cost pusher when it comes to business. A 40-foot container costs US dollars 3,500 from Mombasa to Kampala by road, compared to US dollars 1,500 by rail, when the standard gauge railway is ready and will only take 1 day. A similar container on the Beijing-Shanghai line also costs $1,500 for transport. That is why we are working for the standard gauge railway. The ICT issue is now addressed since we completed the ICT backbone. The cost of telephones and internet use should go down compared to what it was when we were using the satellites. I'm here, therefore, to inform the Ugandans that the NRM has been working systematically to make Uganda a low-cost economy in terms of electricity, transport, and ICT connections. The labor is cheap. The only expensive element we need to deal with is the cost of money in terms of interest rates. This will be solved by capitalizing the Uganda Development Bank, UDB. This coming year, the Treasury put Uganda shilling 50 billion in the Uganda Development Bank. Having dealt with it will come as a proposal to Parliament. It's coming as a proposal. Fine, if you reject it, that will be your. If you reject it, I will put it to a referendum. If you are not informed, you and me are here as delegates of other people. The real owners of the country are there. Yes, you are. So if you are servants, you better be a servant. Having dealt with the cost pushers, on the infrastructure and the financial side, we need to report on what we have done on the human resource side. The population of Uganda was 14 million in 1986. It is now approaching 40 million. I had somebody worried about the population the other day, but I'm not worried. I'm actually very happy when I saw those grandchildren of mine. Why has the population grown so much and so quickly? Answer: peace and immunization. I hope the new leadership in the Ministry of Health will at last implement the NRM strategy on health. Our strategy has always been based has always been based on prevention rather than cure. The measures of prevention other than immunization include nutrition, hygiene, clean water, behavior change, anti-malaria measures, and a responsible lifestyle. If you do those, the medical people have been telling me, you eliminate 80% of the sicknesses. The literacy rate is already 75%. What we are going to work on is more and more skills. The literacy rate is from the expanded education system. We have got about 5,000 secondary schools, government and private, and about 20,000 primary schools. A total of 142 technical and other tertiary institutions, government and private, and a total of 45 universities, government and private. It is this infrastructure that has thrown out a huge number of educated children. It is issue number 3 that is still a problem. We still have a big proportion of people who are not engaged in wealth creation, and those who are so engaged are doing so suboptimally, not fully utilizing the potential of their assets. 2 examples can show the magnitude of the underutilization. Dr. Muranga at Nyaruzinga is now harvesting 53 metric tons of banana per hectare per year. Thank you very much. With your money, but money is not bananas if you don't plant bananas. Her neighbors, the Banyankore, are only harvesting 5 tons per hectare. There are 1 million Frisian cattle and crossbreeds in Uganda today. If each one was producing 20 liters of milk per day, our daily production would stand at 6.5 billion liters per year, assuming 30% of the Frisian herd would be milking at any one given time. Yet our total milk yield is still at 2 billion liters per annum. We are of course congratulating ourselves because it rose from 200 million liters in 1986. Yes, we are happy that our milk production has gone from 200 million liters in 1986 to 2 billion now, but this is not enough. It should be much more given the number of cows we have. So that's why we need to sensitize our people. When you go to the village, please concentrate on this, along with the veterinary people. Having a cow which is producing only 5 liters and it is eating the grass, you are wasting that grass. We should ensure that this cow produces at least 20 liters a day. Now the same goes for crops and for any other activity. Go for maximum returns because it is possible. There are 4 sectors of wealth clusters: agriculture, industry, services, and ICT. Uganda today has got a huge number of young people. How pleasing it is to see them. I don't know where you people pass, but me, when I'm traveling around, I love to see our young people. There are so many and so nice. The only problem is that so many of them do not have either wealth or jobs. Obugaga oba emirimu. Lonyo may teach. Yet Uganda is enriching other countries by excessively importing products and services that your own children can produce if assisted by the state. I have already done my small experimentation. How much furniture does Uganda import from China and Dubai? How many pairs of shoes does Uganda import from outside? How many meters of textile does Uganda import? How much vaccines for humans and livestock does Uganda import? How much glass? How much fertilizers? How much steel? How many automobiles? How many motorcycles? How many even bicycles? How much processed coffee and processed fruits do we import? Is it a wonder that many of our young people neither have jobs nor wealth? The answer is that we have donated both the wealth and the jobs to the outsiders. When I talk of imports, do not think that I'm confining myself to import substitution. I have never been in that category. Apart from the internal market, we must also target the regional and the international markets. What I'm saying is that Uganda is uniquely endowed to enjoy comparative advantages in many of these production lines. As I speak today, we already have good investors for steel, fertilizers, glass, coffee processing, cotton processing for textiles, maize, milk, cooking oil, etc. Amos Dairies is exporting milk products to the United States of America. Mukwano is exporting cooking oil to the European Union. Many factories were exporting fish before it was undermined by bad fishermen on the lake. However, for shoes, furniture, automobiles, motorcycles, computers, etc., we are still depending on endless imports, which cause so much hemorrhage, and yet we have the capacity to compete in these fields if everybody wakes up. Using only shillings 271 million through my State House Controller, I have bought common user machines for the furniture makers of Zambia. If you want, you can go there, because our Baganda people say, Amaso go Muganda gali mungalo, that the eyes of the Muganda are not in the face but in the hands. So you can go there and using only 271 million shillings through my State House Controller, I have bought common user machines for the furniture makers of Zambia. This is one group with 2,000 members. I have given support to 105 groups in the Katwe area with a membership of 1,570. And 17 groups in the Nigeria area with a membership of 510. The Katwe Nigeria groups are mainly in metal cutting, bending, etc. In Katwe, I used shillings 375 million, and in Nigeria, I used shillings 337 million. This money I was using to buy machinery, but also put money in their circles. 100 million for the circle from Parliament. President's vote. Haven't you had an official of state called president? If you read the constitution, you'll find that he's a very powerful officer in Uganda. Apart from supporting groups that are already engaged in artisanal efforts, through my State House Controller, I'm now supporting 711 young girls to do baking, embroidery, textile weaving, shoes making, knitting, etc. From Kampala here, from Kampala. From Kampala. Every intake of 6 months costs us Uganda shillings 486 million, including giving them lunch and daily transport of shillings 2,000 per person. This is Kampala based. We want to decentralize to the Kampala divisions. Because we are doing the training centrally in Kampala, there is this, I will not tell you. If you want, you come and I'll conduct you, because I don't know whether you may not work with Al-Shabaab and cause some problem there. What we are going to do now, because when you do it centrally, then there is the problem of transport. These children don't have money. They need transport from and to. So that's why I want to now do it in the divisions, decentralized. They just walk from their homes, they come and study and go back. And when they finish the course, we give them equipment to go and start. This will mean that these youth are transformed from being idle and unemployed into wealth creators and job creators. Remember that one's wealth in agriculture, in industry, in services, or ICT creates jobs for many. When I am a farmer, the farm is my wealth. However, it also creates jobs for others. When I'm a factory owner, the factory is my wealth, but it also creates jobs for others. When I own a hotel, that hotel creates jobs for others. When I run a business process outsourcing, that business creates jobs for others. The huge reservoir of the unemployed and propertyless youth is actually a huge opportunity. That's what I'm here to tell you. I have studied this. These children can be turned just like that. Instead of putting on shoes, I didn't come with the shoes made by our children because I didn't want to be unparliamentary. But if you permit me, next time I will come putting on the shoes made by our children. What I'm telling you, many of whom are like my children, so I'm now dealing with my grandchildren, not you people, because for you, you are already either Katara or but for the grandchildren, I'm really going to struggle with them, because you see the structure of our families is that the property is owned by the parents. Until those parents die, the children remain there without anything. And some are orphans even. So this huge number of children, they don't have jobs, they don't have wealth. So, but they are there. They are consuming. And we, their parents, we are buying shoes, we are buying from, I don't know where, Dubai, where you go, you people. I went there once. I went there when I was president. I've never been to Dubai in any other capacity. Yes, it's true, I've been president for a long time. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad thing. That's why I'm so experienced. Even if you wake me at night, you say, what is happening here? I will tell you. So these children can quickly be turned around with a little bit of training and equipping and operational capital, money for using, just like that. 6 months training, something like that. Like running a maize mill. You think our children cannot run maize mills? Instead of exporting unprocessed maize to Sudan, to Kenya, where we get less money, but also export our chachu. You know chachu, or you don't know some of these things? Chachu, the food for chicken. Why not get all the maize processed by our children who are empowered by finance capital, equipment, operational capital, and a little bit of training? That's what I have done it, and I will continue doing it. If you want to join me, you can join me. I will welcome you. If you don't want, you can. When I went to the bush, some did not join me, but eventually I came out of the bush. So, what I'm telling the Honorable Parliament, members of Parliament, is that this massive number of children, young people, is a huge force for production and ownership. This does not need land. land is, you see, this is the whole problem. You are now stuck in agriculture. Agriculture. No, forget about agriculture. Oh, that's why they need to. I know many of you. I know many of you like to go to America. You love America so much. You're always going there. When you go there next time, find out how many people are in farming in the United States. It's only 2%. Yes, well, you can go and check, you can say no, but I hear there's a book called Hansard. They are recording whatever we are saying. So, on your mind, not these roof stalkers. Oh, that's unfortunate. I thought they were capturing also some confusion. The United States, the proportion of the population in agriculture is only 2%. This is a population of 320 million people, a land area of 3 million square miles, but only 2% are in agriculture. That is the same story with the UK. The ones who are in agriculture are enough. Let them stay there, those who are there. But this huge number of children in the town, you should not send them to agriculture. Let them process. Let them go in services, because when you send them to the villages, you just want to cause what we call disguised unemployment. Because how many people do you need to operate to manage 1 acre? How many? Do you need 30 people? Yes, just 1 or 2. They can manage 1 acre. Then the rest go to industry, they go to services. I'm glad the Constitution gave me the opportunity to come and say these things. We should transform them into wealth creators and job creators instead of being idle and unemployed. They are the ones to save us from imports and also generate exports using our huge natural resources and our comparative advantages. Yet the money required is not so much. As already pointed out above, in Nigeria, I spent 337 million, including 100 million for capital, shillings 375 million in Katwe, 271 million in Zambia. These figures included cash for their circles, common user machines, and in some cases, work site sheds. In job creation and wealth expansion, now what I'm going to do, and I appeal to MPs to join me, I've identified land in Ntv off Abaita Babiri. Some rich people are trying to steal it from the government. You come and side with me and we recover it. And then we build manufacturing sheds for many of these young people. We build sheds for furniture manufacturers. All these children, like the ones of Karerwe, you find they make their chairs, but they are in the sun, they are in the rain. When it rains, they must move them. If you go to Karerwe, they are there. You go to Zambia, they are there. You go to Chireka, they are there. These children are already very, very, very innovative. With their own effort, without any support, they have already done so much. All they need is a little support from us. We shall go to Mbarara, doesn't matter, we shall go to Mbarara. But let's first deal with this huge number of the children in Kampala. Let us build an industrial estate for them in Abaitavaviri, or where we get any other land, government land, we build sheds for them. This shed is for furniture they make. Then here in Kampala we can help them have showrooms where they come to show. Instead of just lining the roadside, you go on the roadside, that's where they are working now. Then this shed is for shoes. This shed is for weaving, the girls who are weaving. That shed there is for knitting. All these things, let's give them factories and also showrooms. You will see. You will no longer be importing all this takataka which you are importing from all these places. And your children will be transformed from idle and unemployed to wealth creators and job creators. Because if you give them capital, then they employ other people. They change overnight from no property to people of property. But not only people of property, they employ others. I am so happy. I'm glad I have lived for so long. I will see how we are going to change your country using these children whom we have already educated. In job creation and wealth expansion, we shall not only depend on converting our youth to wealth and job creation, we shall aggressively also attract FDI, foreign direct investments. This can move things faster. They have the money, the technology, and the contacts in terms of markets. Now that we have electricity, because one of our big problems, I have been seeing people writing in the papers, the economy is very bad. Poor people, they have no eyes to see. An economy which has got surplus electricity for the first time, an economy which has got surplus electricity for the first time cannot be in a bad shape unless you have no eyes to see. Now that we have electricity, once we have solved the issue of the high price of electricity, we shall be competitive. I can use this occasion to explain a little bit the problem of the high price of electricity. The electricity from Narubare is the power station on the Njeru side, is only 1 American cent, 1 point something. The one on the Jinja side is also the price is very low. Karuma, the electricity will be 4.8 cents, American cents. Isimba will be 5 cents. All the other power stations will produce electricity at the smaller ones. We have got a power station which is about to be finished in Agago, on River Agago, which will produce 88 megawatts. The only one which is polluting our energy mixture is Bujagari. Bujagari was badly negotiated by our people who were involved. I don't think any one of them is a minister. They were badly, it was badly negotiated. So the cost of Bujagari power is 11 cents. You can hear that Narubare is 1 cent, the other one is 11 cents. But we are going to refinance it. We shall come to you for support. You know, if you want to be a leader, you should avoid prejudice. Because prejudice makes you green with envy. You can die from high blood pressure. Because you don't see facts. NRM is not a party of borrowing. If you are looking for homegrown solutions, if you are looking for a group which can have local solutions, the NRM is one of them. Now that we have the electricity, once we have solved the issue of the high price of electricity, we shall be competitive. We shall also review the landing fees of aircraft at Ntv and the ground handling charges. That airport must be competitive. It is not wise to overprice yourself out of business. However, for the FDIs to flow in, we must purge out all the corrupt officials in the Uganda Investment Authority, in the Ministry of Finance, in NEMA, they are the ones that have been delaying and frustrating investments. And if they are there in the State House, we shall purge them. You come and tell me, give me the... How shall we know them? We shall know them by their fruits. Their actions will tell us who they are. You delay an investment for 2 days, we know who you are. You have seen how I have been using little money to convert the youth from the propertylessness and unemployment to wealth creation and job creation. The guards who are being trained will be equipped with the necessary gadgets once they qualify, similar to what we had done to the other groups, but this time in their own respective trades. Why can't we use the huge monies for the women groups, for the youth, for the circles, etc., for similar efforts? In addition to converting our youth from idleness to wealth and job creation, as well as attracting FDIs, we shall also encourage our present members of UMA, Uganda Manufacturers Association, who are 700 in number, to expand, diversify, and deepen their operations. Those engaged in exporting wet blue leather should make final leather so that our massive move on making shoes by our youth utilizes our leather. Kiremba mines, but you are the market, you are putting your own shoes. If you come here without shoes, then I will know there's no market. Kiremba mines must produce the 99.9 pure cathode copper rather than the 94% pure blister copper, because the former can directly be used in our cables industry at Rugazi, rather than having the irrationality of copper producers having to import copper ingots for use in our cables industry. I agree with the Right Honourable Leader of the Opposition that the group which had been given Kiremba Mines was a fake one, and I was not happy with the person who was involved. We don't always say what we have done in public. That was the case in the 1960s when we were producing and smelting copper, but not to the final degree. The gold refinery recently commissioned at Ntv is a good example, because the gold produced there is pure enough to be used in coins, jewelry, etc. Our daughters in Parliament and outside like to put on gold jewelry. We produce gold, but the gold was not purified here. They would just take it out to Dubai, purify it there, make the jewelry, you buy the jewelry from there. What sort of blindness is this? So now the gold refinery is here. They are producing gold ingots. These children of ours can go and start making jewelry from that gold directly. It is here. That's what we want to do. For the gold, for the copper, for the cobalt, for all these are our minerals. The steel from Sukuru Tororo, we have been using, since the NRM came into government, we revived the private sector, revived the steel mills. Casements, this one of Iganga, the one of Mbarara Mwebesa, there were a number of them. But they were using recycled steel. The old cars, the tanks of Idi Amin. Yes, also sometimes once in a while they would steal it. Somebody also was, but now for the first time, since the time of because our ancestors were getting iron direct from the iron ore. Those who don't know that Runyaktara language, when you hear the word Butare, you know that there is iron ore there. Because Butare in our language means iron ore is called obtare. Our ancestors were making iron direct from obtare. But during the time of the colonial time, and even during the time of the NRM up to now, that integrated from obtare to steel had not happened. It is now happening. In Sukuru, they are going to produce 300,000 tons of fully integrated steel industry, in addition to the phosphates, the fertilizers. So the NRM way, one by one, makes a bundle. Kamu kamu gwechi akwate mpora akorachi bugubusiki. That language, I don't know what it is. That is for the speaker to determine. But I doubt whether it is unconstitutional to speak one of Uganda's languages here. I think the only requirement is that everybody here understands what you are saying. So it says one by one makes a bundle. That's what I'm saying. We are working on the. We are trying to get, because the iron ore of Sukuru is actually more difficult than the iron ore of Kabale. The one of Kabale is much better. This one of Sukuru here is the magnetite, which is a bit difficult, I hear, compared to the hematite. The one of Kabale is pure. It is 70% pure. But because of distance, they have started with this one. Let's start and we see. We are trying to see how to open the water transport route using Victoria and the Kagera River. You can actually go by rail and water up to near Shungezi in Mbarara. Then in that case, Kabale and Rwanda are near, only 30 miles, 40 miles away. That's what will help our steel industry on the Kabale side. The steel from Sukuru will straight away go into the dams, the high-rise buildings, the railway, etc. Now we are going to build the standard gauge railway. But the Chinese say the steel from the recycled steel is not good enough for the railway. And it is true, recycled is not the same thing as new. So we need new steel for the dams, for the railway, for these big buildings, instead of importing from China, from Singapore, from all over the world, when we have the iron ore here. Our sugar producers should further refine sugar to produce purer sugar for use in beverages and for pharmaceuticals. Our beverages industries and our pharmaceuticals industries are rendered expensive on account of importing pharmaceutical grade sugar from outside. Our sugar producers cannot, however, do this if they are still being disturbed by pirate sugar companies that were licensed by our system to operate in the traditional sugar producer zone of cane. We are going to rationalize this dangerous chaos in that sugar industry. Yes, there's a crisis because you see, if you put politics in economy, one area you should not put politics is the economy. If you are a good manager, like myself, you never mix politics with the economy. My sister Ogwari here, she's a big something somewhere. Now, we are now very friendly. But at the beginning of our government, we were not so friendly. And I was aware that she had something somewhere. But I could not touch it because of politics. I could not say, because Sise is against me politically, I undermine her. No, it was not Sise Ogwal who made a deal with me. It is me as a manager who had to separate politics from economy. I have never discussed, she has never even told me that she has got something somewhere. But because I want to succeed, I want your country to succeed, if she's engaged in wealth creation, in job creation, even if she's against me politically, I don't mind. I can struggle with her politically. They go to Lango, they steal my votes and so on. But meanwhile, her factory is providing jobs for the Ugandans. Now she's saying that NRM killed it. That's not true. If it died, then she was just a bad manager. I would bail you out if. Because when I bail out her factory, it is not. You see, these factories don't belong to individuals. If you earn $100 million from a factory, how much money would you take, you as the owner? Maybe 15% if you make a profit. The rest, 85%, is salaries, is buying your raw materials, is electricity. The factory is not yours, it is Uganda's, and we are just using you. And we are just using you as an agent of wealth creation. So, the sugar industry, the sugar price is now high because there has been some paralysis, some politics in the local area, and if you are not careful, we may lose I will study it and give you what I think. But we need sugar now, You can imagine we have been producing sugar all this time, but the sugar which goes into the Coca-Cola comes from outside. Because the sugar these people produce is not pure enough to be used in the sodas. The syrups, our pharmaceutical company, Quality Chemicals, they have two issues which we need to help them with. First, we need starch to make tablets. Starch is from cassava or from maize. We have both. But they are not processed enough to reach pharmaceutical grade stage. So and if you want to make syrups for the medicine for the children, you know, these sweeteners, syrups for children medicine, you need sugar. So we can get our sugar people to produce the more refined sugar for syrups, the more refined starch for tablets, so that our pharmaceutical industry is fully integrated. We have everything, but we just need the organization. Now, you find they are importing, like these Quality Chemicals people, I think they are importing starch from India, imagine. With the people of cassava, with the people of maize, in order to make, because a tablet, when you have a tablet, that whole tablet is not medicine. Much of it is starch, just to carry the medicine. The medicine is small. But the starch must be good, which goes into the stomach and dissolves. So it is a special starch. We can get our people to produce all this so that we have got, and it will make medicine cheaper, because the medicine will be made here wholly. The starch, the syrups, all the other ingredients for medicine. On this occasion, I will not talk a lot on agriculture, because Operation Wealth Creation is already on the move to tackle the 69% of our population who are subsistence farmers, whose muziro means totem, has been money. You find people who have no money. When you say, where do you get money from? Then he says, do I ever see the money? Atenzirava Munangi. Maybe on another occasion, I will give you details of the Operation Wealth Creation and what it has done. As far as agriculture is concerned, I will only mention 3 areas. One, we should remember that there are richer farmers who do not benefit from Operation Wealth Creation. These need separate support through low interest money in the UDB. They need this money to do bush clearing, pasture development, water excavation, accessing chemicals for crops, parasites, agricultural machinery, etc. Part of the capitalization of the UDB by government will do this. I have also discussed with the PTA and SADC banks on this issue. The other issue is irrigation. We cannot depend forever on rain-fed agriculture. In the second season of last year, that second season of the end of the year is called Itumba in Linyankore. In the second season of last year, when there was stampede about the drought, they were at the same time the second highest recorded water levels in the lake since 1900. Lake Victoria. The water level last year, in the first season, what we call Katumba in the other language of yours, the March to May is called Katumba. Not Wamara Katumba, the Katumba of the Banyankore. The water level last year in the first season, Katumba, at Ntv, reached the level of 12.70 meters. That water level was only exceeded by the record water level of 1964, when it reached 13.65 meters at Ntv. In fact, since I follow those issues, I was very worried that the landing sites and piers would be swallowed up by the water, as happened in 1964. Indeed, part of the shoreline was flooded. Even today, the water level at Ntv is at 12.13 meters. Ever since 1964, the water level in Lake Victoria has never gone back to its 1959 level of 10.76 meters, or that of 10.28 meters in 1923. So, when yes, there was a little bit of shortage of rain in the second season of last year, Itumba. But the Katumba one had brought so much water, it almost reached the record. So therefore, objectively speaking, the problem, therefore, to talk of drought in Uganda is an irrationality. The answer is irrigation. I am glad the government is working on this. The plans for the irrigation schemes of Pabo, Ongom, Biso, Labori, Namalu, Musamia, in the speech I will tell you where they are, because some of you don't know much about Uganda. Chibimba and Matanda are at the feasibility and design stages. Designs for the foreign irrigation schemes are already finished. Mobuku 2, Doho 2, because Mobuku 1 is already repaired and it's there, but it's not big enough. Doho 1 is already repaired and it's there, but it's not big enough. So we are going now for Doho 2 and Mobuku 2. Wadelai is on the Nile. Wadelai is in the West Nile. Tochi is in Lango Achori. Ruengaju is in Fort Portal. And Ngenge is in Kapchorwa. There are also 130 micro irrigation schemes in the various districts. I had to do some experimentation. I must thank the former minister, the Honorable Maria Mutagamba. There's a place called Kandago in Ruchiga County, where we went and installed a solar-powered water pump, and we launched it. You can go there and see how it is working. Other designs to be done are Rwebichunchu, this is near Kamamba, Mabira, Atari, Achomai, Achomai is must be in Bukedea, Geregere, Ojama, Chenshama, Kyahi. These do not include the mega irrigation schemes around the Rwenzori, the Elgon, the Agoro, and the Kigezi Highlands, as well as bulk water transfers for the Kagera, Nakasongora, and Kachera areas. More importantly, working with industrialists, we are developing solar-powered water pumps that can be used by individual farmers. I'm looking forward to throwing away my diesel water pumps when the cheaper solar pumps are available. I could then irrigate my pasture and crops. I have a number of, at a personal level, I have a number of diesel pumps. But because they use, every time you run it, you put their diesel, I have avoided using them for irrigation. I only use them for putting water in the deep, in the deep. With the diesel pumps, I have confined myself to only feeding the cattle dips. The ministries, I don't remember, but I bought them, so they must be not very expensive. No, loan. Me, I don't buy on loan. Cash. I'm not a loan man. If you go in the banks, you will not find that Museveni has got a debt anywhere. Salary, 3.6 million. I don't buy from the salary, I buy from my cows. That is unparliamentary. He's asking me how many cows I have. But if you go to the IGG, you will see my declaration. The ministries concerned have pledged to finally work on some of the industrial parks, such as Namanve, Ruzira, Mbari, etc. We are also expecting our Kira electric car, Kayora minibus, and pickups in the 2018. The automobile industrial park is being developed in Jinja. I think this paragraph they should have put it on the other side. They have put it in agriculture. That MP is very concerned about my welfare. He says I should conclude because I need to drink water. I'm very grateful for the concern. The fourth issue to remember is that in order to supply the industries, our agriculture must wake up and behave industrially. We, for instance, are now required to supply cattle for the abattoirs that are springing up, and also supply the Chinese market, where our people have got orders for beef, where a kilogram is now US dollars 11.5. With 14 million heads of cattle, this should not be a problem because you can easily sell off 20% per annum and it will not affect the national herd. 20% of the national herd is 2.8 million. Therefore, supplying a factory that needs 146,000 cattle per year is not a problem. However, somebody must concentrate those cattle so that the factory gets its 400 cattle per day when it needs them. We have directed NEC to do this. Everybody should support them. Even private fatteners of bullocks can be licensed to feed these factories and also support the export outside. In all this, I have not yet commented on the oil and our minerals. Having agreed on the pipeline, we are set to move. This oil will make it easier for the Uganda state to fund infrastructure and innovation in science. The fifth crucial issue is market access. Under our 10 strategic bottlenecks that we identified long ago, limited market access is one of them. Recently in Dar es Salaam, I pointed out that in order to guarantee our prosperity, we must ensure that our products access the internal market, the regional one, and the international one. Trade is about mutual support if it is fair trade. The East African Community market of 170 million people gives us a good base to negotiate with others. The Americans, the European Union, the Chinese, the Indians, the Japanese, the Russians, etc. Once somebody buys what you produce, he's supporting your prosperity. The reverse is the case if you buy what he's producing. You are supporting his prosperity. You are creating jobs for him, and you are giving him that should be yours. Let us wake up and wake up everybody. As far as the legislative program of the government is concerned, here below are the bills. They are all listed there. Let me. I don't know those bureaucratic things. You ask Dr. Gundi, the one who. Oh, these are 81. 81. So many of them. So, with these few words, with these few words, I do. How do they say it? Huh? I beg to submit.
Your Excellency, the President, I want to thank you for fulfilling your obligations under Article 101, Sub-Article 1 of the Constitution. As expected, this statement will be debated in the House. We also expect the Leader of Opposition to formally make a reply so that both your statements are debated. Your Excellency, before we want to invite you to join us in the gardens for reception, which has been organized to mark the opening of the second session of the 10th Parliament. But before you go for the reception, Your Excellency, we're inviting the members of Parliament, our guests and Your Excellency, to go to the steps of the Parliament to take a photo to commemorate the commencement of the second session of the 10th Parliament. Now, Excellency, in your speech, you have given me notice about your intention to come here with different shoes. So I want to invoke the powers of the Speaker under Rule 73E of the Rules of Procedure, where, with my prior permission, you are granted leave to come here with footwear that may not necessarily be described as shoes. And this is for the purpose of promoting Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. I now adjourn the House to Thursday, 8th June, at this venue at 1400 hours. Thank you very much.
The anthems in reverse order.
Ntv